How does the vintage Loewe Amazona compare to the Hermes Plume bag? That is the question I'll be answering today, so if you're interested, please keep on watching. And hi, if you're new here, my name is Elaine, and on my channel, I like to talk about bags from mid-range to vintage luxury. And if you're returning, thank you so much for your support and viewership. So without further ado, let's get into it. I recently got these two Amazona bags. Yes, they're not the Amazona 180, that is new right now. The Amazona 180 is the one with just one handle, so there's no front handle. The handle is longer, so you can put it over your shoulder, or it also has a crossbody or a shoulder strap. But as you can see, these two here are vintage. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, looking at the size difference, they're from different eras. And I'm pretty sure both of them predate Jonathan Anderson. So the Amazona is a classic Loewe bag. I got both of these off of Brandier, which is a Japanese reseller on eBay. The vintage Amazonas go for a pretty good price. So both of these were in the $500 to $600 range. And the current Amazona 180, of course, is a lot more. So the mini is $2,900, and then I think the small is closer to $4,000, which is a lot. Honestly, don't know if I would be getting that bag, so I have to see it in person first, and then if I do, it would probably be in Hawaii, because Loewe tends to have a Hawaii price, which is a little bit cheaper than mainland pricing. So I haven't used these bags a ton because I did just get them. I did use this a little bit. So this is a suede Amazona. You can tell it's the old style because there's like no lock here. I think this is the oldest, by the way. And then the anagram is, it looks to me, you know, it's a little bit older. It looks a little like spidery in my eyes. The same as the Loewe anagram that they use currently. This one is in like a neon yellow with a navy blue trim. And then this one I did get recently. I unboxed it through a YouTube short. I didn't actually do a whole video on it because I unboxed this and a Gucci bag, which are both basically duplicates. But as you can see, this is in shearling, which is my very first shearling bag. I got it, one, because it was a good price. Two, I like the color. And three, it would be my very first shearling bag. I know, like, we're heading into summer. Shearling is really just a winter bag, but it was so cute, right? Shearling feels really nice, by the way. This one, you can tell, is a little newer style than this one because, one, it's more rectangular. It's sort of the shape of the Amazona these days. And then it does come with a lock and a clochette. This one didn't. And as you can see, it's a very simple top handle bag. Honestly, I really loved Loewe for quite a while now, and I have tried the modern Loewe's in store before, and as cute as they are, I just wasn't really tempted because it's a very simple bag. Design wise, I feel like you could find this in a lot of other brands, though, you know, quality and the leather is good, so there's that. But I think just overall I wasn't super interested. And then of course now the Amazona 180 is here and I don't really want to spend that money, but I did want to try the Amazona. Another thing is that I am not usually a top handle type of gal. I'm getting more into it now because a lot of bags from Hermes and such are top handle only, so I've been trying to get that into my lifestyle. But for the most part, I will add a third-party strap. So for this bag, I've worn it before. I did use a strap. All right, so this is the strap that I use when I use this bag. I also use this on my Loewe puzzle bag. Kind of matches, right? It's like the neon yellow. I actually prefer to put the straps just like the Amazona on just one side, which does make it kind of interesting. It does then lean forward, but when I do on opposing sides, which I normally would have done, but when you do that, the handles kind of stick out here, which, I mean, it's either way, it's not terrible. It's definitely doable, and that's because the Amazona always comes with little rings that you can put the straps on. So I don't really have a strap for this yet. I really haven't used it because I just got it. You know, it's a winter bag, so we'll see how this goes. But for the most part, I mean, I wanted to add some color into my life. This was a great option. The suede is really nice. The leather, of course, is a little worn because it's vintage, but it looks pretty good. And I do have this strap to now use it. So overall, I would say it's a very functional bag. So the point of this wasn't just a review of the Loewe Amazona. is I've had a couple questions from subscribers, so thank you guys so much for these ideas for these videos, but also, you know, for engaging in this conversation about bags with me. So one of the questions was, how does the Plume compare to the Amazona? So as you can see, they're very similar types of bags, you know, very boxy with rings. Actually, probably a better comparison would be with this one. So this is my Plume 28 Elan, which I think when you compare it, looks fairly similar. In terms of width, in this size, the Plume is definitely skinnier. So it won't fit as much as, say, the Amazona of this size. This Amazona, of course, can also fit more because it is a square shape. So these are actually both Amazona 28s. So lengthwise, they're the same. So it is really only in the difference of the height. When you compare the Plume 28 Elan with the Amazona 28, like I said, it's the width. I think also, yeah, so the Elan version does not come with feet. The Amazona will always come with feet. I mean, they're not the biggest feet, but, you know, better than nothing. In terms of handle drop, it looks pretty much the same. Maybe the Plume 28 has it beat there. I think the biggest difference to me between the Plumes in general and the Amazonas is the rolled handles. So I'm a huge fan of really nice rolled handles. Like, they make carrying the bag, especially as a top handle bag and you weigh it down, makes the bag much more comfortable to carry. And I have to say, I feel like Loewe does rolled handles the best. I mean, I know it's really just a subjective thing, but the rolled handles on these Amazonas, as well as the rolled handles on my puzzle bags, they are just the most comfortable. Like, they know the right circumference to make it comfortable. So like the Plumes here, as you can see, Plume 28 Elan, very thin rolled handles, and the same can be actually said for the 32 Plume. It's also very thin rolled handles, so it actually makes carrying not as comfortable. Inside, so nice thing about the, does this one have? No, this one doesn't have. But the nice thing about the, I think the newer Amazonas is they do have 2 zippers. So, you know, that really makes it easier for also left-handed people, or, you know, it doesn't matter which way to zip, you know, it's convenient overall. Inside of this particular Amazona, this vintage one, is lined in leather, and it does come with a snap pocket here along with a zipper pocket here. The Plume, this one's lined with Milo lambskin. I think this one's lined with goat skin. I don't know if they're all lined the same. Yeah, so this one's lined with goat skin, chev leather, and then this Plume happens to be lined with lambskin, and inside there's 1 flat pocket and 2 smaller pockets. I think, you know, in terms of capacity, even though they're both the 28 in length, again, the Amazona has it beat because it is a lot wider. I think if you are looking for an Hermes bag that's practical, I do think the Plume is a good option. It's one of the few that are practical. But I think if you're looking for value, I do think the Amazona, especially the vintage ones, the secondhand ones, they are going to be a lot more reasonable. Even the vintage Plumes are pretty up there. So, I mean, in the thousands versus the Amazonas are in the hundreds. Well, let me know if you have any other questions, particularly between the Plume and the Amazona. And I'm actually going to go next to another question that I had, which was between the Amazona and the Delvaux Coolbox. So the Coolbox, I did do a review on it. So if you want to take a look, is actually my only Delvaux bag currently. And it is cool because it does have a very massive D-ring, which is attached to the zipper. And then this piece of leather, which then hides the zipper for kind of a very clean look. This is the mini. There's a nano and I think a medium. When you compare it to this mini with the Amazona, as you can see, the mini is a lot smaller. So of course, capacity is going to be limited. Delvaux secondhand, you can find them for a decent price. They're not that popular. You know, they're not an Hermes or anything. So, you know, I think that's good. Construction-wise, I think Delvaux is comparable to Hermes. They're both very good. Delvaux used to be hand-stitched. I'm not sure if they're hand-stitched anymore, but very still neat, clean construction. Personally, I think I would go for, ooh, this is tough. I mean, the nice thing about the Delvaux Coolbox is it does have little D-rings. It does come with a crossbody strap, so you are meant to be able to crossbody it even in the bigger sizes. I wish that was true with the Amazona. I think functionality wise, then I would choose the Coolbox because of that. You know, like I said, not a top handle only gal. However, I will say that this strip of leather is kind of annoying. So I'm not usually, like, I'm the type to kind of like leave my bags open like this. You know what I mean? I don't always close my bags right away, especially if like I'm in a rush, I'm at the grocery store, whatever. So I can't do that with the Delvaux, obviously, because once you leave it open, it just looks weird. It looks weird. You have this little tail going on, right? So for the Delvaux, I always have to remember to close it. But I mean, for a lot of people, that's not a big deal. Me personally, though, I mean, for the price of this Delvaux, even secondhand, I think it was about $1,400. I could buy 3 Amazonas. I mean, I know quantity is not always better than quality, but I mean, the quality, especially if the vintage Amazonas, are great. I have yet to see the Amazona 180 in person, so I can't say for certain the quality level now. I think if you are looking for a boxy bag that's a brand name, that's going to have pretty good resale value, especially if you buy it secondhand, I do think Loewe's Amazona is a good option. You know, they're vintage ones. If you guys have the Amazona 180, I definitely would love to hear, or even if you have any of the Amazonas 180 or the vintage ones, love to hear your opinion as well. I'm just getting started using these bags, so I will let you know if my opinions change. Of course, I'll do an updated review, but for now, I'm really loving these bags, especially since, you know, Loewe's been making the Amazona for so long. So there are a ton of different types of Amazonas. So I even saw on Melbourne. Sorry. I saw she unboxed a vintage Amazona in like these really girly colors, which I personally wouldn't choose, but I think, you know, was right up her alley, which works perfectly for her. And so, you know, you really can find something for you, I think, when it comes to the Amazona, especially secondhand. As far as I know, I don't think there's a ton of replicas of the vintage ones. I think that's it. Let me know if you have any questions about any of these bags. I'd be happy to answer them. And if you like this video, I kindly ask that you consider liking or subscribing, since it really helps support this channel. And thank you guys so much for your time. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.